this January 6th rioter got sentenced recently. He's like, he calls himself a sovereign citizen. I wanted to read a little bit of this article because it's absolutely fascinating. This, by the way, is from April 3rd, 2024. Surprisingly long wait after January 6th, right? Why did it take so long, I wonder? Washington. A Washington man who led attack on officers on January 6th and represented himself at trial using arguments a federal judge described as BS and gobbledygook was sentenced to 7 years in federal prison on Wednesday. Taylor James Jonatakis was convicted in November on felony counts of obstruction of an official proceeding, assaulting officers, and civil disorder, as well as 4 misdemeanor charges. Judge Royce Lamberth, who was appointed to the bench by former President Ronald Reagan, said at the sentencing hearing on Wednesday that he was troubled by God, this name is going to get me. By Jonatakis' lack of remorse, and he was concerned that if given the chance, Jonatakis might engage in violence again. Like, these people can't shut their mouths to save their own lives. This dude just lit 7 years on fire, and he can't stop being a complete nutcase for a second. You know what this reminds me of? I'll tell you what it reminds me of. It reminds me of this MAGA sitcom from Janet Porter about how you can't say Christmas anymore. By the way, I did a whole video on this if you want to see like more about this. It's absolutely, it's so entertaining.
Happy holidays.
Merry Christmas.
Hi.
Janet, dear, it's really more politically correct to say happy holidays.
Like, nobody would say that. Nobody. And she's like, you know, these people are so persecuted in their own heads.
I'm not very PC. Just think about me.
Something you should work on, dear.
Oh my God.
Plus, it would make you less offensive in your public appearances.
Ugh, God, it's so fake and ridiculous. Anyway, like I said, they're victims in their own heads. 24/7, they're being victimized by everybody around them. Like, I don't know that they believe that they're more victimized and pretend to be bigger victims than actual real victims of societal mistreatment. Oh my God. The point is that they can't keep their mouths shut, even for a second. They cannot help themselves but to spout off nonsense about whatever, about MAGA and everything else. Even to save 7 years of your own life, can't do it. Noting the letters of support that Jonatakis' friends and family had sent to the court, Lamberth noted that Jonatakis was being held accountable for what he did, not the person he is. Unfortunately, Lamberth said Jonatakis left his good attributes at home when he went to the Capitol on January 6th. Much as he did during the trial, Jonatakis continued not to engage with substance of the proceedings and instead advanced sovereign citizen arguments, indicating that he did not think he was subject to the federal justice system. If you don't know what sovereign citizen is, it's just this belief that, like, okay, there's a big QAnon conspiracy theory about it, and that's probably the category that he falls into. This belief that the United States right now is not actually the United States government. After the Civil War, it was rejoined, the Confederacy and the Union, into the corporation of the United States. We haven't had a real president of the government since then, or I don't even know. So anyway, they believe that they're only subject to the laws of the U.S. government. Also, if they come up with all kinds of like crazy conspiracies and pseudo-legal nonsense, like one woman says she's allowed to drive without a driver's license because she's traveling, and traveling from state to state is protected in the Constitution, completely ignoring the fact that the government has the right to like regulate safety and things like that. She says, this isn't a commercial vehicle. This is a personal vehicle, my personal property. Blah, blah, blah. Just nonsense all the way down. They think that they have some like concept of how things work. They don't. Disturbingly, I heard from family members that my brother is going down this weird route, calls himself a constitutionalist and stuff. Oh no. I'm a constitutionalist in all seriousness. I believe in the Constitution, and I think it's a fantastic document, truthfully. When somebody says that they're a constitutionalist, though, the way that my brother is, they don't even know the meaning of the term. They don't seem to have like any idea what they're talking about. My brother's a big fan of Marjorie Taylor Greene too, apparently. Anyway, yeah, absolutely not. So I wanted to listen to a voicemail about it. By the way, 1-800-701-8573. Leave a voicemail. The number's in the description too. I'd appreciate that. Listen to this.
Hey, Owen, I just wanted to tell you that a number of the January 6th rioting defendants have actually gone like the sovereign citizen route. For the viewers who might know or not know, there's a fair bit of overlap between QAnon and sovereign citizens. It's just so weird. Anyway, there's a new one out there. You can see it on Reddit. It's a post of an official court document. And anyway, that's it. You have fun.
Yeah, I appreciate that. It is absolutely insane, this whole sovereign citizen thing. But truthfully, I am so entertained by it. Probably more entertained than I should be. God, there's so many wild conspiracy theories out there about it too. Like Johnny Enlow talking about it. Like, just listen to him build this big nonsensical, ridiculous argument off of that BS.
This is something he is saying. He is saying. That's why I'm emphasizing.
I'm sorry, God is saying, because God speaks to him as a prophet, of course.
Even because sometimes we can get into talking about what's going on behind the scenes. I think a whole lot going on behind the scenes. I could have a 30-minute conversation about what I think is really going on there. I'll just say I think we have two presidents, essentially. One's over the corporation, one's over the republic.
There you go. Oh, dude, I love this so much. Because the corporation of the U.S. exists rather than the U.S. government, all of the constitutional amendments since then are invalidated in their minds. And one of the changes to the Constitution or whatever was Inauguration Day. It went from March 4th to January 20th. And March 4th, 2021 rolls around, and these people, Johnny Enlow and Robin Bullock and Kat Kerr and a bunch of others, convinced Trump is going to be inaugurated on March 4th. And when it didn't happen, they said it happened secretly.
One has the essential machinery of the economy and the essential machinery of the military, and one has things to do with other things that
like what?
Say what's left, a little niche there, and there's a moment of quick confrontation coming where it's going to require that things go back fully, visibly in the order that the Lord has said.
Any second now, right? Just waiting for this to happen.
And that is President Trump will be there. Again, he is. We'll find out. He's been ruling and reigning, and again, accomplishing things that he could not accomplish, even if he was in the full role of standing in the presidential seat, because of the attacks he would be getting. It's really saving him. There's a kind of a strategic wisdom to do all you can while they have to shoot at somebody else.
Oh my God, dude, please. It's absolutely insane, but I love it to death. It's so entertaining. I'm sorry, like, I wish these people would like come to their senses and be normal human beings and not be like so buried in their own delusion that they can't see straight. I wish that we could get them out of that desperately. Do anything to get them out of it. But there's no getting them out of it, as far as I can tell. Truthfully, I just don't know how we fix it. So what else is left but to laugh at it, right? Anyway, yeah, I appreciate the voicemail. Remember, 1-800-701-8573. Give me a call. Oh, yeah, and check out my book, guys. I'd appreciate that. OwenMorgan.com. You can check it on Amazon. I have one about Jehovah's Witnesses, and I have one coming, may already be out, about how Hitler used the church to accomplish his goals if he was an atheist or whatever. So give that a look.
Hey, Owen, this is James from Virginia. I've been looking a lot at some of the videos you've been making, and I'm kind of curious. Since they're trying to cut down on immigration and remove birth control in schools and sex ed, it's indicative that they are likely trying to increase the population. Do you think that this is a eugenics program? Thank you. Bye-bye.
Super interesting question. Is it a eugenics program to try to increase the population. Evangelicals and people on the far right have been talking about trying to increase the population like this for years. Now, I'm going to come in with a hot take, but just bear with me through it for a second. And if someone disagrees with me on it, you can tell me. There is nothing wrong with trying to improve your life and the lives of your family members. So you take your kid to the dentist, right? And you have their teeth cleaned and taken care of to the best of your ability. You want to have them in the nicest clothes and everything else. This is a bad example, but the point is you try to make your family or your kid fit into society as well as you possibly can. Be quote unquote normal, because being normal is advantageous. Sticking out will make their lives harder a lot of the time. Wishing to have a kid that is going to grow up to be like strong and lift weights and also very intelligent, there's nothing wrong with that. And, you know, if you marry somebody who is very intelligent, has a high IQ, and you have a high IQ, and you want to have a baby with them so that maybe the baby will have a high IQ, I mean, that's a little bit weird, but there's nothing wrong with it. Morally, legally, you can do whatever. There's no limitation. And there shouldn't be. But it is eugenics. That is technically eugenics, in the sense that you're trying to guide the product of births, basically. You're trying to guide births in a certain direction. Eugenics really falls apart and gets really, really terrible when it starts removing bodily autonomy. I mean, it gets terrible before that, but bodily autonomy is really the massive downfall. People should have a right to do what they want to do with their lives. So if I don't want to have a kid, I should be able to get a vasectomy if I want. If I don't want you to have a kid, giving you a vasectomy against your will is eugenics. If it's targeted for some intrinsic quality about you, for example. When people say eugenics, they think about the eugenics movement that was like, it was like a worldwide movement back in like the 20s and the 30s and earlier than that. People were desperate to improve society, to make their society the strongest and the best and the smartest and the quickest and everything, and to filter out the quote unquote feeble-minded. And come to find out, evolution just does not work that way. That's just not feasible. It's not realistic to do that. It's way too complicated to do that. Guy named Thomas Morgan Hunt, who try to pull this information off the top of my head. Thomas Morgan Hunt was a professor studying eugenics, basically, studying how genes are passed on and everything. And he quit his job at this university when he realized it's just more complicated. You can't just put, two people together and hope that they produce this thing. You can't just kill off the feeble-minded, quote unquote. It just doesn't work that way. So anyway, yeah, that's the bottom line. People have to be able to make choices for their own lives. So when I say eugenics, or when everyone else says it, it has a very negative connotation to it. And in that negative connotation, in that context, that sense, it isn't eugenics. But in the technical sense, I suppose technically it is. Anyway, hopefully that answered the question. I've been writing about this subject for a while now. I wrote this whole big thing about eugenics and the morals of it and how it worked and everything else. So yeah, thank you for the voicemail.
Hey, Owen, it's Stu. I'm in North Carolina. I have to say, the ads on your podcast are out of control.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. I'm trying to fix it. I'll just keep listening.
There's an ad every 5 minutes now, and they will cut in sometimes right when you will say, oh, we're going to listen to this clip. All of a sudden, I'm listening to Ryan Seacrest trying to sell me some gambling website. And I don't feel like that's something you would really support necessarily. So, I mean, I know that you had to switch to a new podcast network or carrier or whatever, but you don't have any control over when they're sticking the ads in. But, man, I just have to say, it's gotten a bit out of control. I don't know if there's anything you can do about it, and I'm going to keep listening to you anyway, but just wanted to let you know.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I am limited in what I can do, but I can set the placement of ads manually. It's kind of a pain, but I will try to clean it up and remove some and, double them up instead of putting them in different places or whatever. Another problem is Ryan Seacrest trying to sell you some gambling website. Yeah, I definitely don't stand for that, but that is one way in which I'm very limited in what I can do. YouTube was getting heat a while back for running ads that were about like some, I don't know, some Christian evangelical church that hates gay people or whatever. It was running those ads on top of like pro gay videos, and there was some massive blowback over it forever ago. This is a problem with advertising on the internet. It's a problem that needs to be worked out and will be hopefully sooner rather than later. But yeah, I'm very limited in the power that I have, but I'll clean up the ads for you. Thanks for the voicemail.